It's an important discussion, a renewed discussion around domestic violence amid this ongoing trial with actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The two have been both accused the other of physical abuse throughout the duration of their marriage. And it's led to a lot of discussion online about domestic violence and the different forms it takes. So tonight, Rachel Kraus looks into an issue this trial's highlighted that has the internet and domestic abuse advocates talking.
With experts in the ongoing Heard-Depp defamation case using the term mutual abuse to describe the violence in their relationship, the phrase has been circulating online, sparking conversations. But it's a divisive term, experts say.
I don't think that the domestic violence community really accepts that that's a real thing, except in very unusual cases.
Larry Bennett with the IU School of Social Work says mutual abuse or situational couple violence has gotten a lot of pushback from the domestic violence community over the years. Bennett says while many victims may defend themselves if they feel attacked, it's not unusual for a primary aggressor to use it as an excuse to say the violence was the other person's fault or mutual.
The people who are domestic violence perpetrators and their people who support them like to believe that. They like to use that common couple violence sort of phrase, mutual combat sort of thing. But if one of those people are afraid, then that's not what it is.
According to the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence, intimate partner-related abuse is about control or maintaining power over a person, and it often escalates over time. But situational couple abuse is typically people with poor communication skills and an inability to solve problems without violence. And lumping the two ideas together can be very diminishing for victims.
And the reason why it's so important to get those two separated is because domestic violence is very often exacerbates and is lethal in the end. Situational couple violence is not.
And deadly domestic violence is a growing issue. From 2020 to 2021, the coalition recorded 98 intimate partner violence-related deaths, a 181% increase from the previous year. Hyatt Bennett says a victim fighting back is not the same thing as initiating violence, and it shouldn't be treated that way.
Because if people dismiss it as situational couple violence or people that just use violence when they don't know how else to respond, then that's a failure to recognize the issue. And a failure to recognize the issue means that 181% increase in domestic violence fatalities is going to increase further.
And Rachel, there's actually a lot of groups around our state to help people looking to leave domestic violence situations, but the pandemic's actually impacted things a bit.
Yeah, and Coburn Place actually helps survivors who are experiencing homelessness as they try and escape a bad situation. And they tell me right now the need is huge. They can house about 105 families at any given time, and capacity is always full. They tell me that there's been a relentless surge in demand from the beginning of the pandemic, with more than 100% increase in survivors reaching out for help.
So tell us what exactly can be done to help.
Well, they say that there is one big problem here in Indy that needs to be addressed, and that is affordable housing.
And specifically families that are homeless because of domestic violence, they often have additional barriers, whether they're financial or whether they're safety. And so building a housing stock that survivors are going to be able to access is a huge part of helping address this intersecting need of domestic violence, abuse, and homelessness going forward.
Henson says communities need to come together to find solutions to deal with this surge in demand so that they can better help domestic violence survivors.
Okay, an important topic there. Thank you so much, Rachel.